Hey yo, thanks for tuning in to The Source, your source for celebrity news. Check this out. The other day I shared my opinion on Monique in her interview on Club Shay Shay, and in doing so, many of you thought that I threw shade on her and her husband Sidney Hicks, and a whole bunch of people got upset. They were like, Source, that's it, you done crossed the line. I usually rock with you, but I can't rock with you on this one, and I had to unlike this video, because how dare you talk about our sister, Monique Luther King Jr., and her great husband / sidekick, Sidney Hicks. You sound sad and jealous, because she has a love that you will never know. And if you were a real black woman like Monique, you would respect the fact that she has a right to stand up for herself and speak truth to power after sellout Negroes like Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey blackballed her in the business. Monique is the victim, and she's done nothing but speak the truth, and she has the receipts to prove it. So that makes you nothing but a hater and a bitter black woman, Source. Listen, before I get into it, let me share some of my favorite comments. One person said, I applaud Monique and her husband's relationship. She has a king. If you ever had a great man, you would understand how she treasures Sidney. And then somebody else said, yes, Monique is right. Fighting Tyler and Oprah is equal to fighting civil rights in the early 50s. Monique is like a civil rights worker. Seeking equality and injustice seems endless, but civil rights workers keep appearing even though Dr. King's been shot dead. And then somebody else came through and said, your commentary and opinions about Monique are way off, and it's giving hater vibes. You're taking issue with things that should be elementary. Fault finding and nitpicky is what it's coming off as. Not one thing Monique expressed is a lie, and I'm so glad that she comes with receipts. And then, last but not least, somebody else came through and said, damn, I love you, Source, but you come hating Black Union. The same type of people Mo been talking about. Her husband holds her down. Kevin's the one that lied to her and played her. Listen, let me explain something to all of y'all who tried to come for me in the comments right now, because some of y'all got it twisted. So I'm going to take a minute to untwist it for you. I will never be jealous nor envious of a woman who's running around on social media acting like a 55-year-old infant, paternalizing her husband and saying that he's her daddy because he raised her.
When people say to me, why do you call him daddy? And I tell them because he raising me. He's given me everything that my father did not. A lot of black women would say, why do you call him daddy? Because he's raising me. He's raising me. My father probably stopped giving me what I needed when I was around 13 years old. So now you got a woman that's 13, and now I'm 35, and now I got a bunch of money, what we consider to be a bunch of money. Let me just be real clear about that, okay? Now I got this money. Now I'm taking care of everybody. Who gonna check me, boo? Who gonna make me grow up? But when that man, when we were just best friends and when we got together, this is what he said to me. He said, when we were best friends and you were married to other men, you were not my responsibility. You were my sister, but not my responsibility. There are times he has to be my father because there are times I'm a child. There are times that he's my brother. There are times that, so he wears all those hats.
And you know what I have to say to that?
So it's giving me some daddy issues. It's giving me some daddy wounds that she did not heal from. And now she's projecting all of that onto her husband. And now he has this extra layer of responsibility to be her daddy when he really should just be her companion and her partner.
And listen, I'm not even going to put that all on Monique because Sidney is just as confused.
Sidney told the New York Times their friendship grew and evolved throughout the years. Monique went from being his sister to being his, quote, little girl at certain points. As for Monique, she refers to Sidney as daddy, and she explained why in this live video.
Let me tell you why I call him daddy. Because he raising me, goddammit.
Now, let's set the record straight. The reason why I, Source, could never be jealous of this type of relationship is because 1, I'm not jealous of anybody's relationships. I support black love. And 2, I could in no way be envious of this type of unhealthy dynamic. Because your husband is your husband and your father is your father. And believing that your husband is your father connotes a serious problem because these two roles should never be viewed as one and the same. because a father's job and obligation is to conceive, nurture, and raise his child with a type of unconditional love that is in no way sexual in nature. I mean, a real father couldn't even perceive being intimate with his daughter, which is why when Lot's daughters laid with him in the book of Genesis, the Bible says, "Cursed is he who sleeps with his sister, the daughter of his father or the daughter of his mother." Now, on the other hand, a husband's job is to care for, provide for, and nurture his wife, with whom he should be equally yoked within a relationship that is predicated on procreating and being both emotionally and sexually intimate with his partner. Thus, his leadership and guidance of the household is governed by the purpose for which God made him. Therefore, a husband and a father are two totally different things, and those things should never be confused. Aside from that, you're a grown behind woman. That man ain't raising you. I mean, you two can grow together, you can develop together, you can mature together, and guess what? He just might teach you a thing or two, but he ain't raising you, and he's not supposed to. I mean, that right there is pure pimpery and hoery type thinking. Yeah, baby, I'm your daddy. Who raised you? And to be quite honest, let's keep it real. I think that the reason why, Monique has entered into this type of codependent relationship is based on her past. And all I can say is let's pray for both of them. And let me add this with a disclaimer that says this is just me, because I understand that nowadays anything goes. But for me personally, the mark of a good relationship is not when a wife is laying next to her husband in the bed and all she can think about is going out to eat some fish. Check this out.
And Lisa, one night that thing was on me so motherfucking hard, baby. It woke me up out my sleep 3 o'clock in the morning. And I had to wake my husband up. And I had to say, Daddy, I got a secret. And I don't want you to leave me, but please just let me tell you my secret. He said, Mama, what's wrong? I said, Daddy.
Oh.
Wow. Come on.
I want to be with another woman sexually. And that beautiful man looked at me, Lisa, and said, bitch, me too. So that bitch, we're fucking together. You fucking Africa, you fucking Africa, you fucking Africa, you fucking
Yes!
He said, Mama, pussy is amazing, man. I don't get you a little piece of pussy.
Yes, that relationship is healthy. Just so healthy. And that brings us to point number 2. Source, you just hating on Monique and her husband, and that's foul, because Monique and Sydney are modern day civil rights activists like Martin and Coretta that are trying to uplift the black community, and she's right to speak up for herself, because Netflix, Tyler Perry, and Oprah Winfrey took money out of her pocket and did her wrong. And she's absolutely right to demand an apology, because what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. Listen, as far as Monique Luther King Jr. leading a modern-day civil rights movement goes, let me ask you this. Before Monique and Sydney sued Netflix, they were out here trying to rally all the people to boycott Netflix because of all the gender inequality and pay discrimination. And they said that it was a fight on behalf of the people and all of the babies that were going to come up after her. Source, can you please play that clip?
Hey, my loves. I am asking that you stand with me and boycott Netflix for gender bias and color bias. I was offered a $500,000 deal last week to do a comedy special. However, Amy Schumer was offered $11 million, Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle $20 million. Then Amy Schumer went back and renegotiated $2 more million because she said I shouldn't get what the men are getting, they're legends, however I should get more, and Netflix agreed. When we asked Netflix to explain the difference, why the money was so different, they said, well, we believe that's what Monique will bring. We said, well, what about my resume? They said, we don't go off of resumes. Then we asked them, what was it about Amy Schumer? And they said, well, she sold out Madison Square Garden twice, and she had a big movie over the summer. Is that not Amy Schumer's resume? And then Netflix said, by the way, we believe Monique is a legend too. Why shouldn't I get what the legends are getting? Please stand with me in this boycott of Netflix. I love us for real.
Alright, so after Monique came out and said that, Cat Williams came out and said this.
Well, what's your thoughts on Netflix? I mean, they're giving deals. We just heard Tiffany Haddish has got a deal as well, and I mean, they're opening up things to comics, and for them to open up a door like that. What are your honest thoughts about Netflix?
Well, everybody has to understand that Netflix doesn't have an opinion on stand-up comedy. They base what they pay you by the amount of ticket sales for your last tour. So Monique's last tour had 316,000 tickets. Therefore, that's what she got offered. My last tour had $2.4 million tickets, and so that's what the offer was.
Wow.
So if people understand that it's not personal,
right?
Then they could just,
I didn't know that,
for free, take their ass to work and get their numbers up.
Now, fast forward. After Monique settled with Netflix and most likely signed an NDA and got her check, you didn't hear nothing else about the platform until she cut this video and did her Netflix special.
Hey y'all ain't gonna believe this. Guess what? I'm now on Netflix. Who the hell they think I was? Welcome to Monique Flix. The prices are as follows. $45.99 a day, baby. And guess what? That does include unlimited commercials. But for extra $5.99, you get to skip, baby. That's right. I'm doing this for my sisters and my bacon-wrapped chocolate peanut butter brittle brothers. Okay? Yes, I want us all to win, just like I did against Nanflix, No-Flix, whatever the hell their name was. They wasn't gonna pay me 50,000 pieces of raggedy dollars, okay? Hell no, that's lunch money. Big Neek in this bitch.
Now, after Monique won her settlement with Netflix, a journalist from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution asked her what the outcome was and how much she got. And you know what she said? She basically said, none your business. So basically, the lawsuit that was about the babies is no longer our business once she cashed that check. I mean, if this was about civil rights, that would be like me asking Coretta Scott King and Martin Luther King Jr., what's in the civil rights bill, Martin? And him being like, none your business. I am done. And listen, I'm happy that Monique won. But what I'm trying to show you is that Netflix fight was not about civil rights. It was about Monique and Sydney's personal bank account. And there's a difference. Which brings us to everybody saying, Source, Monique is a victim, and I don't appreciate you not supporting her in her fight against Tyler Perry and Oprah, because they blackballed her, and they took money off of that woman's table.
Now, to Tyler Perry's credit, Tyler Perry called us up, right? And he said, I can see the pain in you and I can hear it. And I want to let you know that I would never do nothing to hurt you. But the conversation kept going on. Only for Tyler Perry to admit he did start a rumor that I was difficult to work with. He lied. Only for Tyler Perry to admit I was wrong. And when my movie Boo come out, I'm going to say that, right? Now, here's where, when you did that interview with Kat, I could respect how you do it. Because Kat said, you let them people lie in your face. And your response was, Kat, I don't know if they're lying or not.
Right.
Because I can only take them at their word.
At their word.
Right?
Yes.
Well, we sent you the audio of Tyler Perry. I don't want you to take me at my word. I want you to hear his words. And what did you hear that man saying? What did you hear that man saying?
He said it.
What did he say?
Is Monique, you know you're not supposed to be recording people.
No. Let me back up.
Okay.
Everything we did was legal. And here's where a black woman really gets the kick in the ass. Had I not recorded Tyler Perry, then it would have been my word against his. And then on top of that, it would have been, he's so powerful, we can't even pay no attention to that.
Right.
Well, now I have him on audio, which is legal to do where we live.
Right.
Okay? We have him on audio. And do you know what some people then said? Why would you record him? Just like you sat there and said, you know it's illegal to... But did you hear what the man said? I violated you.
Yeah.
I mistreated you.
Yeah.
Do you know, Shannon, that's cost my family tens of millions of dollars?
Yeah.
Over a lie and a rumor?
Is he gonna he's gonna compensate you for that?
I want you to look in your camera.
Yes.
And I want you to talk to Tyler Perry because you heard what that man said. So ask him, will he compensate my family for that?
Look, I do support Monique in her quest to get justice from any individuals that wronged her during her career, causing her to lose compensation. But with a grain of salt, because it's hard for me to sympathize with Monique talking about how people did her dirty and took food off of her table and saying that those individuals need to be accountable and apologize to her because what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong, when I know full well that she once took food off of somebody else's table and she never apologized to them, even after they brought it to her attention. Check this out.
I did the radio in Chicago for 10 years for free, V103. Haters in the radio behind the scenes wouldn't hire me. They said that we don't know if America's ready for you. This was long before podcasts. And so they could see me through the radio. Right. But they wouldn't hire me, but I was on every week as a guest and anything for free. John Mons, who was huge in Chicago, John Mons, Bonnie DeShong, and George Wilborn. John Mons left to go to D.C. He got a job at a radio station in D.C. He said, Flame Monroe, I want you on my team. At the time, there was another comedian who was very famous at the time, big name, big girl. You figure it out yourself, this is a puzzle. Big name, big girl, talked about fat jokes the entire time. Okay. Anyway, so I had worked with her in passing. We had met, never hung out or nothing, but very cordial to each other in the green room. When John got the job and John signed me up, this was 1999, $100,000. I was an unknown comic. $100,000 was great for me. I had no kids. I was singing. I would have had a different life, especially in 99. Without question, they wanted to hire me on his word. On his word, the female comedian said, oh, I can't work with somebody with that lifestyle because she has so much power and such a black woman. John Mons called me 2 days later. I'm packing my house up to move to D.C. John Mons said, Flame, what did you do to Monique? I say, what do you mean? What did you do to Monique? I say, what are you talking about? Man, she threw you under the bus. She dogged you. She can't work with your lifestyle and woo, woo, woo. That kicked me in my ass, for real, because I was devastated. Like, you don't even know me. Right. You haven't never sat down and had a conversation with me. At that time, I had a girlfriend. I didn't have any children. We had a boyfriend. It was like that. We did. But this is what you do. So you don't know what you did to me. So that crushed me back at that time, because this was my time to go here when I was so much younger and would be probably because I love radio. I always loved radio. And
we talked about that.
Yes, we did. Yeah. And I've never confronted her about that. She gonna see this now.
Now, after Flame Monroe did that interview, she did another interview in which she disclosed that she had a mutual friend that was working with Monique, and she asked the friend to give Monique her number and to have Monique call her. But what she get? Radio. What makes it even worse is that she told the radio station not to hire Flame because she didn't like her lifestyle, knowing full well that she herself was an undercover member of the LGBTQ community. I mean, that's just not nice. And I know somebody's gonna come in the comment section like sauce, but Tyler Perry made Monique lose millions, whereas Monique only made Flame Monroe lose like 100K. Listen, I don't care whether it was 2 nickels. Monique used the power and influence that she had at the time to blackball somebody else. And you know what? This is a good time to talk about the receipts that Monique allegedly pulled on Oprah. Guess what? We need to take that receipt back to the store and get a refund. And this is why. When Monique was on Club Shay Shay, she said that she could prove that Oprah Winfrey was talking about her behind her back because Reggie Wells, who was Oprah Winfrey's makeup artist, actually said it during one of her shows when she was talking to him on the phone. Source, can you please show the segment where Monique was talking about Reggie Wells?
Oprah Winfrey calls my husband. I want y'all to take your time, because I'm getting ready to go in.
Yeah, that's your camera right there.
Yeah, because the people at home, they sitting there like, Monique, what happened? Bitch, I'm getting ready to tell you. She calls my husband.
Okay.
My husband explains to her what's going on. She says, there have been times I've had to draw the line in the sand. So my husband said, well, what is different between you and Monique? You've got to draw the line, and you're saying when you know they're asking you for too much. She said, you're absolutely right, and I understand your position. You're right in the position you're taking. So when you're looking at me saying, well, what happened? I'm telling you what happened.
But, okay, she's saying that privately, but did she voice that publicly?
Did you hear her say it?
I did.
Did you hear her say it? JT, did you hear her say it?
No.
Zach, did you hear her say it, Zach? Regina, did you hear her? Tommy? No one seemed to hear that publicly. She said that privately. Now, when she said that, see, everything we're saying to you, it can be proven. She had him on speakerphone. in that when she was talking to him. In that room was a man named Reggie Wells, who just passed, who used to be Oprah Winfrey's makeup artist, who he had a conversation with me and my husband. Now, for you babies that's good with the little internet, we had a show on called Monique and Sydney Finding a Way to Be Unoffended. Finding a Way to Be Unoffended. Reggie Wells is on that show speaking about Oprah Winfrey. Reggie Wells said, Monique, I was there that day. He said, and when y'all got off the phone, I looked at her and said, why don't you just pay this woman the money? She deserves it. And she looked at him and said, I won't be paying her nothing. And he said, that's not right. And you know it's not right. Now that man shared that on that show. So I'm not saying nothing that hasn't been shared. So you have people that will say things in private, but won't do it publicly. I'm the person that I will say it in private and I'm going to say it publicly because that's the only way we make it right.
So you know what happened next. I had to go and find that phone call. Source, can you please play the phone call?
But what we wanted to do was bring someone into the conversation who has a great deal of knowledge and has worked very closely with Oprah Winfrey. And his name is Brother Reggie Wells. We'd like to introduce him and bring him to the show.
Hey, Reggie, welcome, baby.
Hey, guys, how are you?
We're wonderful, my love. Wonderful. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for joining us. Reggie, before we get...
Being here, especially when it comes to Oprah Winfrey. And somehow, because I was there for 30 years, 23 years I worked with this woman, and I learned so much about her, was taught by her, and I think in myself I was teaching her as well. So we had a great relationship. But there are always, when you go into it, you want to know, just as you guys talked about today, why do we think on a certain level? When you get to a part where we're big enough to say things the right way, and we're big enough also to understand humanity and what that means. I feel very pressured about going along with the flow that doesn't make any sense. So when somebody speaks to me, I don't care if it's pop Reggie, I don't care if it's old band Reggie, I don't care if it's look good band Reggie, I'm going to appreciate the idea that you gave me enough attention to pay attention to me and give me that kind of talk. So I find unnecessary treatment is not even, I don't even know where that comes from at a certain level. And it's at a level that shouldn't be there.
Let us ask you, Reggie, and just so everyone will get an understanding, when you say that you know her for 20 years and maybe you can get insight, 23, could you please give them insight as to how you know her and what your background is in?
Well, I became, thank God, a very successful makeup artist in New York City back in 1970. I had 4 decades of doing makeup. So if you name Lena Horne, you name Aretha Franklin, you name anyone that's been Sarah Vaughan, I got to touch all these people, Beyonce, Whitney Houston, all these people. And I got ready in New York for the achievement that I was trying to do. I wanted to get in television. And here there was this woman from Baltimore, which I'm from Baltimore. Okay, Mom?
Hey!
Come on now.
Born and raised here, taught school here for 10 years.
Wow.
In public school. So I got to know people and I got to understand. I was blessed by God to be able to paint and draw as a little boy. So I was lucky enough to get where I needed to get and do what I needed to do. And after that, the first Emmy ever awarded to a black man doing a makeup show was Reggie Wells.
Come on now.
First Emmy award to a talk show host because there weren't any but 2 women at the time as big as Oprah and Sally Raphael. And that's the Emmy that I got nominated for 2 times and won an Emmy Award. And I'm telling you, there wasn't even a category at the time. They invented that category. And I never hear any kind of praise for somebody who's been around 4 decades.
Let us ask you this, Brother Reggie. So with that knowledge and background and history, and you winning Emmy Awards with Oprah Winfrey, can you give us some insight to her mindset as to why you believe
people do certain things? Because I was there with Oprah in the beginning, right there in Baltimore. And I tried to see her in Baltimore on television when I was teaching school. The personality was a whole different personality because it didn't have any kind of thing but a big goal in their head. They didn't have I don't think, the way to carry yourself or the respect. So I saw it change. I saw it change very quickly. I came in there with a degree, Oprah received her degree, and I came in there with a degree. So when I sat down in front of people, I saw the change go deep. I remember Bill Cosby said to her one time, a long time ago on stage, and he said, you're going to change when you get a certain amount of money. Right there in audience, I'll never forget it. And she said, there people tell me that, but I don't think money changes you. I'm going to be just who I am. He said, you're going to change. I'll never forget it. You're going to change, and you're going to be very different from what you are right now. She said, I just feel if you're a jerk when you get money. Wow. So I guess we answered that question.
Well, Reggie, because when I started the show and I said my feelings were hurt, because for me it was personal. And someone said, oh no, someone just said, oh, we still talking about Oprah? We have to, because here's a woman, and this is just my humble opinion, here's a woman that when you say things like, I cringe when you call me auntie, well, that's our community. So my question to you would be, is there a disconnect with Oprah Winfrey and the community?
In your opinion?
There's a big disconnection with Oprah and the community, and I saw it happen. I was there when it happened. So when you get a disconnection, it means that you're not doing some of the same things you did before. Your humanity, your whole respect is totally different. I'm writing a memoir, which is my life story, and I will take people into that journey and show you how things changed. And I sat there and watched it. Oprah had, she gave me vacation. She called it vacation. 1 minute, because if I said the thing that wasn't supposed to be said, I go on vacation. I get called back from vacation. But if I say something again, I go back on vacation.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry to bust out laughing. Okay, wait. So if you said some real sugar honey iced tea, you got sent on vacation.
Quick. That question back. Quick.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was understanding what he was saying.
That's a nicer way of saying, you gave me a lot of decisions to make because you gave me the choice. If I don't respect what you just said, you're going to take a vacation. And my thing is, I'm the man who invented myself. God gave me a talent, and I am not in the source of brown-nosing anybody. And I saw it every day for 23 years.
We heard that.
23 years. And you remember what I said here, because it's going to come back to haunt a lot of people. And as far as Gail and Oprah being upset with Auntie, Gail's children called Oprah Auntie O for many years. With Auntie O. That's why I'm trying to tell you what a curve will do to you in your spirit and anything else. So you're not calling her Auntie O anymore. I was in Africa with Oprah for years, 7 years, off and on. I heard children say, Mom, Oprah to her. Mom, Oprah to her. Mom, Oprah. Mom, Oprah, constantly. She didn't have a problem with that.
Well, Reggie, we greatly appreciate your insight, baby, because, you know, sometimes I just don't want to go on my...
And you shouldn't have to. That's why I said to myself that there need to be more voices. There need to be more voices. I went on enough vacation that I should have a voice. And that's what I'm saying, because I have been very, very upset with some of the stuff that I was in. I call it stuff because it was a bunch of stuff. And you got to remember, when you work in an organization, and I'm used to being a freelancer, I was never used to working for a company anyway, because I can tell you, I didn't do it when I was a school teacher. I didn't pay attention to what I was told to do. If I felt it needed to be done a different way, it was done a different way. And when I went into New York, they said, you can't knock on those doors, Reggie. I said, watch this. I won't knock, I'll buzz.
Come on now. That's what being from Baltimore do to you, baby.
Brother Reggie, we appreciate you coming on the show and coming on with love and respect, because this is not a conversation designed to call anybody out. We only trying to call folks up.
Yes.
So we appreciate you, our brother.
We love you, baby.
Well, I love you too. I appreciate it.
All right, my sweetness.
Take care.
Yo, Reggie said that every time he says something that Oprah didn't like, she was like, Reggie, take a vacation. Wow. But the point is that this particular receipt that Monique tried to pull ain't receipting. Because while he did say that Oprah switched up once she got some money, he did not say that he overheard Oprah talking about Monique after they got off the phone. Now, listen, I could go on for days, but I'm not going to. So I'll bring it to a close with this. A lot of people were like, yo, Sauce, why you shading Sydney as her manager? That's her king, her husband, her partner. I didn't shade Sydney as her manager, but now I will. Look, most people who have a problem working with Monique nowadays have a problem working with Monique, not because of Monique, but because of her husband. And it's not because he's so dynamic as a manager that he won't allow people to get over on her, but it's because when people hire the talent, they don't necessarily want the talent agent all up in the episode. For example, Monique used to be a frequent guest on Comedy Hype. But during one of the episodes that they filmed, Monique and her husband got very upset because Sydney didn't get enough screen time. Check this out.
But back to this Grace thing, you know, that's something that we experience, as you know.
Yeah.
You know, very closely. I kind of will give one example. You know, some people kind of might be wondering why Monique has never done our show. And since the first time she did an interview with us, I think maybe back in 2019, when we did an interview with her, people might be wondering why.
I've been asked on interviews before.
Oh, you have?
I have, yeah.
And I think that's a great example of when we don't give each other grace. And I think the unfortunate side of it is that Monique presents herself as an advocate and my brother this, my sister this, and then when we make a mistake, she writes us off to oblivion. So we can get into that because I've been wanting to address that for some time because it's bittersweet. You know, it felt like with the interviews that we did, for those that are watching, we did a one-on-one interview with Monique several years ago. They did phenomenal for our platform. It put us on the map. And it also, I think, helped change Monique's narrative that at the time people weren't understanding why she was making the decisions that she was. And it's a great interview and probably our biggest interview. And since then, I would catch wind that Monique and her husband were unhappy with how it was edited.
Yeah.
Right? And it kind of came to me later, meaning I was, I remember reaching out to kind of keep that momentum going. And there was light curves or things that not really address the elephant in the room until one day I decided to kind of get that answer. And we even got to a point, we went to Monique's show and wanted to physically show like, hey, we are trying to make this work, you know. And I don't even know if a white company would even like go up to someone's show and try to do a face-to-face. And in the process of doing that, you know, it felt like more so like we didn't really get a direct answer until I did speak with her husband. And he pretty much laid it up to me. And he felt that an apology was owed. And he felt that the way that we edited the interview, which excluded him from the conversation, seemed to be their concern. And I will be honest with you, I was confused at first in receiving that, because in the process of it, I remember how happy and excited they were. And if you know me working with me, I'm quick to make adjustments.
Right.
So at any point, they could have been able to say, hey, John, we don't like this. Well, cool, let's take it down. Let's edit this. Let's maneuver, because that's never my intention to make you uncomfortable.
But the disappointing part is to see, again, I'm a fan of Monique. I grew up loving Monique, seeing her not just outside of comedy, yes in comedy, but like hosting, that's what I do. So
Right.
seeing her in that light. So it was unfortunate to come here. And when we go to a show, I told her, you know, hey, we love you at Comedy Hype. And then she just kind of dismissed me. Mm-hmm. But to see what she went through with Netflix not valuing you and not even open to negotiation, you know, all these things, hey, let's boycott Netflix. Right. And then you do a special with Netflix, you mend that relationship, and we've reached out a couple times to Monique.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's no grace or desire to mend a relationship with a black platform.
Completely roll us off.
Listen, here's the problem. When people want to hire the talent, they don't always want to have like the talent agent all up in the mix. Could you imagine if like Naomi Campbell's manager was like, listen, we got to scrap the show because I didn't get a chance to walk down the runway. That's crazy. Look, if Monique wants her husband to be a business manager, then that's her business. But it's bad business, because your business manager should not be an omnipresent presence that's like gotta be there during every interview. And when you're doing an interview, when it gets to the point where you're like, listen, we gotta scrap that because Sydney didn't get enough airtime, that is bananas. Listen, I thought it was all about uplifting the black community and helping out the babies. I mean, you would think, like the young man said, that Monique and Sydney, being the righteous black empowerment power couple that they are, wouldn't be so quick to write off a young black entrepreneur, but instead, they would give him a little grace, even if he did make an editing mistake. Listen, like I said, my goal was not and is not to bash and trash Monique, because I like her, I really do. But I also like the facts, and these are the facts. So, no, Monique and Sydney are not your modern day Martin and Coretta. No, Monique is not an innocent victim. No, Monique and Sydney's relationship is not #couple goals. And no, Sydney is not the best manager. I mean, it is what it is. Monique got issues just like everybody got issues, including me. So don't be coming up in my comment section trying to act like Monique can't do no wrong. Listen, let me know what you think about Monique calling her husband daddy and making sure that Flame and Roe didn't get hired because of their lifestyle. Also, let me know your thoughts on Monique and Sydney dropping fake receipts against Oprah and them dismissing the young black entrepreneurs over at Comedy Hype because they didn't like the way that they edited Sydney out of their video. Let me know what you think in the comments. And while you're down there leaving a comment, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends. Hey yo, thanks for tuning in to Celeb Source, your source for celebrity news. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Peace.